Second motion is from, in the name of Darren Johnson.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, this is on Crystal Palace, and the motion welcomes plans for a new Crystal Palace neighbourhood forum, which local people are working on. Welcomes plans from Bromley Council, working with the local community to establish a community trust to govern the park, and calls for a new way of dealing with the local community, and a new way forward from City Hall and the Mayor. We've seen too many deals and plans put together behind closed doors for Crystal Palace Park that haven't properly involved the local community, that have been secretly negotiated and haven't really even formed part of the overall strategic plan for the park, and have simply often just come from nowhere. I'm thinking particularly of the now aborted ZhongRong deal, but again with the National Sports Centre plans there wasn't any consultation with the local sporting community at first. It was only after significant protests that took place. So the Mayor needs to engage seriously and openly with the local community on this. I think the two new bodies which are being established does offer a new way forward, and hopefully we can see the Mayor taking a far more constructive and engaging role with the future of Crystal Palace Park, rather than secretly negotiating plans which seem to get plonked on the park from nowhere, without any real consultation and involvement with the local community.
Thank you. Second, Assembly Member Twycross.
I'm happy to second this motion, and I think that the proposals to build a complex replicating the size and scale of the original Crystal Palace, though not necessarily a replica of the palace, have caused significant reputational damage to the GLA and Mayor's office among the local communities around Crystal Palace, most of whom are very motivated, politically aware and vocal. And consultation around the ZhongRong plans was sketchy at best, with consultation sessions being publicised at short notice, very little significant information about the details of what was being proposed being supplied to residents. And throughout the whole debacle, the main publicity and consultation materials consisted little more than a glossy booklet and a fancy website with an image of the former palace superimposed on it. There was no detailed options for what might be included or how this might impact on the existing communities and businesses in terms of local economy, transport, facilities and so on. This fostered huge suspicion from large swathes of the community, which hasn't gone away, and not information was ever provided in order for local residents and businesses to decide if they were in favour or not of the proposals. Add to this the demands from ZhongRong for a 125-year lease from Bromley Council on the top site, without even a sniff of detailed proposals, much less planning approval being obtained, and it is not difficult to see why Crystal Palace's various community groups and representatives are not particularly trustful of subsequent GLA consultations and proposals to the park. In addition, during the drawn-out exclusivity agreement between Bromley and ZhongRong, which expired in March this year without an agreement having been reached, a heritage lottery fund Parks for People bid was rejected due in part to the potential of alternative investment having been found. Now that the plans have collapsed, this valuable funding opportunity has been completely wasted, and the park and the local communities have really lost out. There's been too much obfuscation, confusion and mystification around Crystal Palace Park over the years, and what we now need is clarification. And I welcome that local groups are efficiently mobilising to form a Crystal Palace neighbourhood forum and plan and a community-led management forum for the park with support from Bromley. We welcome this motion from the Labour Group, and we call on the Mayor and GLA to rebuild the bridges with the Crystal Palace community, which have been very much damaged over the past year or so. We further call on him to make clear and definite plans to fully engage with community-led processes and commit to transparency on all future discussions on the future of this vibrant and increasingly exciting part of South East London. Thank you.
Thank you. Before I call Assembly members into a debate, can I welcome pupils from Dorothy Barley Junior Academy from Dagenham. Thank you for coming to see us. Lovely. Okay. First speaker in the debate, Assembly Member O'Connell.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Yeah, this is an interesting motion. Now, clearly, this is an area I know very well. Although the land sits in James's constituency, it's very much part of Croydon as well. I was born in that area, and in fact, this is a good coincidence because tonight I'm having a pint in the Grape and Grain, which is a pub at the top of Annerley Hill, to meet some activists up there who are partly mentioned in this. So I live and breathe this very much. And I certainly do agree that the consultation was skewed and it didn't work for local groups. I have already written to support the Neighbourhood Forum. I think that's an excellent idea. I know Darren has as well, because due to the nature of Crystal Palace, which is the conjunction of 5 boroughs, it lends itself to a separate neighbourhood plan. And I know up there that at any given time there's several campaigns going on. It could be Save the Cinema, Save the Library, Save the Park. It's a very active, very exciting place. And as I say, somewhere that I'm very supportive, and I kind of live and breathe, and I know the guys and girls up there, and I'm very supportive of them. The only problem I've got really with this motion, which is a real bind, is this talk about the secrecy, because what we're doing is and the park, those that know it well, and I was pushed around there in a pram. No, we've got the top part, which is where the ZhongRong Group had its beady eyes on, and then you go further down to where you've got the National Sports Centre, and then you've got the stadium, and you've got the whole piece. So it's a big old piece of work. And the ZhongRong Group have now been seen off. They've gone. Their proposition didn't work, and they've gone away. So it's kind of a little bit historic in that respect, though it's right to note that the consultation didn't really hit the mark. The final points around this, the Assembly calls on the Mayor to end private discussions. Well, you know, a good Mayor does have discussions with groups. There could be private discussions with community groups, there could be discussions with commercial groups, and to say that, I think misses the point. So ultimately, I can't really, which is again a bit of I can't support this motion because I think it's skewed about the secrecy piece, the fact we don't want the Mayor to have discussions. I like the tone of it, I like what we're talking about, because we need to support those groups, and I think what would be absolutely fantastic if a community group or community groups, sporting groups, can work together with the GLA, proper consultation, particularly to look at the running of the sports centre, the stadium and other sort of stuff as well. I think that's really the way forward. I'm going to support that. I'm going to work with the groups. I know Darren and others will. I know Val will. If she was here, she'd be very supportive of that ethos. But I can't support it because, as I say, for example, calling on the Mayor to end any private discussions, proposals for the different part, I'm not going to bind and tie his hands on it. I don't think that makes any sense. So I think we're all kind of going in the right direction on this, but I won't be supportive for that reason, but I won't be opposing it. Thank you.
Okay. Assembly Member Cleverly.
Thank you. I can't support this motion, although there are elements within it that I think are fair. Desire for greater transparency and openness, I think, is something which we all aspire to and is not party politically limited. But I am disappointed that the motion is peppered with weasel words, continuing to pursue secretive discussions. I struggle to concede.
It's a secret.
I struggle to concede that having a major press release in Crystal Palace Park, which was then broadcast all over the internet, local and regional newspapers, are secretive discussions. By their very nature, commercial discussions have to have an element which cannot be publicly broadcast. If we are going to demand the Mayor ceases to ever advocate on behalf of the city, and when they do so in the full glare of public and media attention at every point and every stage, then no Mayor will ever be able to have discussions of any meaningful sense with potential commercial partners to the benefit of London. So whilst, as I say, there are elements which I could have supported, I do feel that the general tone and the ultimate demand, which is that the Mayor has no private conversations about potential developments in London, I think is completely impractical, and therefore I won't be able to support it.
Okay, anyone else? No. Assembly Member Johnson?
Just a brief right of reply on that. I do thank and pay tribute to Steve O'Connell's constructive work on engaging with the local community on this. I'm sorry that you don't feel you can support the motion, but I do feel very strongly that a new way forward is required, because these developments didn't take account of the master plan, which the Mayor himself and his officers fought at great length through public inquiry. And then he does go off then and have secret discussions about developments that don't conform with that master plan at all. And as for James Cleverley's comments about the ZhongRong deal and the press conference and so on, the Mayor, and we now have this on the record, the Mayor first met the ZhongRong Group at the Olympics, and officers first held meetings with them in February 2013. The plans were not made public until October of that year. That is an awful lot of secrecy about something which was such a major development proposal, and was completely inconsistent with the master plan for the agreed master plan for Crystal Palace Park. So I think a new way forward is necessary, and I do urge members to support the motion.
Thank you. Let's take the motion to the vote. Those in favour of the motion?
11.
11. Or those against the motion? 3. Motion is passed by a majority vote. The next motion is